Good morning, ladies and germs. We're going to do some surgery here. I'm going to show you how to switch out a broken heater box. My heater box is broken because of the cam carrier being pushed into the back right here, right there, where the pointer is. And I am getting gases into the cabin of the car. So I took the liberty to mark out the 9/4 inch, these are not metric, these are 1/4 inch nuts on the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's one way down in the back here, 8 and 9 under the resistor plug right here. Now I took the liberty to mark them white, and the reason I did that was it's easier when I get my tool on there to find them in the darker locations. This little push-on nut here that holds the hot and cold flapper for the box can be wiggled off, or you can twist it off and get a new one. Those are called, looks like they're called a push nut in the book here. So let's put the book away. When I work, I like to have like an operating table, have my tools that are only going to be used for the job, so I'm not cluttering around. So what I do, 1/4 inch nut, I use a Makita gun with the LED light on it. So these just snap on there. And I use a 1/4 inch short drive, a 1/4 inch angle drive, some extensions, and I got my adapter here that goes into my drill. And because I'm taking them off, I don't want to waste time. I just want to spin them out, be done with it. So here is the box I'm going to put in. This box has been cleaned. I blew everything out of it. Made sure this is actually an operating one that came out of a good car that I was driving. So no damage where they usually get broken in here where the cam carrier is, the housing. So what you're going to want to take off beyond the 9 bolts is the 1/4 inch that holds the cable to the hot and cold flapper arm. Remove that guy, pull off the plug, clean these. This is just a tri-resistor for your speeds of the fan. This is your fan power, and this is your ground. Clean all these connections. I use copper coat when I put everything back together. It gives me a good connection. Do not take the fan apart. Don't take off the little flap door here, leave that alone. And make sure that your heater core is in good condition and they're not all crushed from guys forcing them off. Another thing I use is a heat gun. These don't have to be very expensive because they got a heat coil and a fan in them. So I use that to warm up my hoses coming off the heater core, because you're going to either break the solder joint on the heater core itself, forcing it out. Take the clamp off, pull them back, warm these up really good, and just get a plier on here. Sometimes you can squeeze them to break any of the corrosion or the sticking points. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So further on this hose here, I made myself a little welding rod pick, bent to 90 degrees, and I got underneath here and I rotated around the hose to extend it to break the suction of the corrosion before I forced off the hoses. I don't want to twist and break the fittings off of the heater box, heater core. So I took the liberty, I got 9 screws out, plus the 10th one, which is right here on the heater cable. That push on fastener need to get off yet. So the reason I did paint these white is they will be easily found if you do drop them. And it doesn't take much with just a paint marker. Put a white dab on them, and they're easier to find, to locate. So I'm going to pull off the resistor plug, power to the fan, and the ground. That all comes off. Set that aside. We're going to get that guy off. So with the plier, I was able to save our little push on nut there. Just had to wiggle it off. So that's removed. The heater cable that was there, it's been popped off, pulled back. Heater hoses are removed. So we are ready to break the seal. This one here has RTV on it, some orange. So I'm going to take a moment to get that guy off of there. Okay, I put a screwdriver behind here, and wasn't a big deal at all. So just bring the whole heater box. We got the washer tube hose connected here. Take that right off the box. You're gonna need that on your new box to go with it. And you can save this guy because the heater box is good, fan motor is good, resistor is good, and as parts are getting harder to find, it's good to keep the heater core for next time. So I cleaned up the heater box. There is a groove all along most of the box that had some sort of a caulking in it. And you can still see there's like orange silicone there. So you want to take a small screwdriver, clean this all out, all around the box. That little bit, get rid of that. And what they did was they had some old caulking in this channel from the factory, and they took another box and stuck it on top with silicone, and it didn't sit properly because that groove was still had the trim caulking stuff in the groove, so it didn't allow it to sit flat to the box. I'm going to take an air hose and just blow that off carefully. Here's my replacement box. And looking at it here, you can see how there's filler missing in here, some kind of seam filler. Now, I don't have any seam filler here, but I'm going to probably just get some black silicone, a small tube, and just put it all around these edges just to seal off any of the airflow. I'm not planning to take this thing apart again, to be honest with you. So I'm going to clean this all off, run a bead inside here. I'm going to run a bead around that, so when I set the heater box on it, it'll just all made up. Okay, so I cleaned the box completely, so it's got a flat surface. The heater box is cleaned, prepped for accepting the new one. So I got all the screws back in, and what I would like to do is I always start with each corner screw, bottom, all four corners, get it located to center, and do just use a hand tightening adapter on your 1/4 inch. Don't use your drill unless you're very gentle, but many might just get aggressive with it and just strip out the screws. So we cleaned up the resistor plug for the fan, power, and the ground underneath. Going to attach the ground. So I used copper coat. Comes in a can. This can will last you for years for your terminals, connections. It's got a brush in the can. Put her on. Put this guy back on. Get that on there. Back in. I did clean them with a wire brush. And we were just talking about stripping screws. Well, the screw that was actually in this box, I had to take a different size to get it out. And lo and behold, they did strip it. They put a different screw in. And I put the tin hat, or this push-on connector, back on top when I saved. So all that's left right now is the two heater hoses. So the heater hoses are back on. All the screws are accounted for. Connections are all back. Everything's been cleaned. I put some sealant on there. Ah, look, I forgot. One screw didn't get tightened. And I know I got those two underneath tight. Forgot the bottom one. That's why I paint them all white. Paint everything, mark everything, then it's all exposed. You can see where you're at. So I put the air cleaner back on, all the vacuum lines, the PVC line back on. Last thing to do, check your radiator fluid, start it up, top it up, because that heater core is going to take your coolant. So the only tools you really need, copper coat, some kind of a screwdriver. I got an angle one to scrape, plier, a little bit to grab the hoses. One screw left over, that's the one I had to switch out that was broken. Heat gun for your hoses on your heater core, the water lines, and probably just get yourself I have my angle drive here, I put it away already, the 1/4 inch. Get a nut driver, 1/4 inch hand to tighten them up when you're done. That's it.